the people do not see him as an idol, so they will not follow him to go and watch a game. The same thing with basketball. If you pay you need to make stars of our players, our sportsmen. They need to be super personalities. Because if they become personalities and role models in the community, people naturally identify with them. So it's been a general problem with sports, not just basketball, not football. But we're also hoping that with what we are doing with basketball, a lot of investment will come into basketball, not just DSTV, other sponsors. Nestle is doing a great job. Zenith is doing some job there.
With the Women League.
Yeah, so it's a growing thing. And we hope one day we'll get to the climax where everybody will be rushing and then they can actually go for the highest bidder. And that's what we hope. And then also, like what we keep saying, the money should actually go to the players. Unlike what we have in sports, where 90% of the money stays with administration. No, and the money should actually go into players. And the federation, we need to improve regulations where some of the structures are really well laid out.
As a member of the Nigeria Basketball Federation, would you say that you are impressed with the efforts made at grassroots development? People look at, let me use football as an example, that we are competition-based. They also look at basketball as competition-based. As a member of the NBBF, Basketball Federation, would you say a lot is geared towards the grassroots?
Well, it's, of course, a lot of things are happening. But again, who really does grassroots? The government, through Bolaji Abdullahi, has set up the NASCOM board, which is basically to drive rhythm and play in those schools, which is basically. But how do you partner? How do you develop strategic partnerships between the federation and some of these government agencies to really grow it and put it back into secondary schools and primary schools? If you don't take sports to schools, then you are really, you won't get anywhere. So we need to get schools, you need to get students playing. I'm not saying that some of them will become superstars, but at least they are healthy. They begin to identify and they can tell their parents, please take me. I want to go and see a game of basketball. Because the first question I ask myself, those Nigerians relax. I don't know, Tony, if you take your kids out to go and watch any game.
My wife
do we relax
I can't lie now. Because,
you know, so these are some of the issues we really need to address. Do we take our kids to where they can relax? Some people I asked, a couple of parents, they said they need to clean up the stadium. Yeah, I think the federation, the various organizations need to keep it clean so that kids can actually come, feel secure, and watch a game. I mean, we don't really hang out as families, and I think this is very critical. And basketball is a great avenue to really sit back and enjoy with your family.
What about facilities? People also complain that the NBBF has not done enough in terms of providing facilities for, I mean, you are involved with the league.
Yeah.
Facilities for games to be played and things like that. Do you want to agree with those who think along that line that we need more facilities, quality facilities, to really boost this game?
Well, when you're talking about facilities, it's funny because I don't think it's the MBBF's position to really provide facilities. The facilities, there's a government agency, the Sports Commission that provides the facilities. But again, if you begin to professionalize the teams, if today Northern Warriors gets $2 million in sponsorship, personal sponsorship, which I think is what they should take advantage of television presence, sell their T-shirts, sell merchandising, develop proper branding. You can own your own facility. Because one, if you own your facility, it's not just for basketball. If you're not using it, you can use it out for events and all that. It should actually be a major revenue stream. You can even sell the naming right for that area. But now what they are doing is all of them congregate at the National Stadium, where all the teams in Lagos play.
And we stress that facility. We stretch it beyond limits.
So you can only try. Of course, DSTV is putting quite a lot of money into basketball. A couple of companies are, but they really need a lot of funding. I don't think the clubs are making enough money, to be very sincere and honest. And if they're not, then it's difficult for them.
Let's talk about the national team now, because that's the next important thing.
The Tigers.
Yeah, they have a championship coming up very soon. The girls also have a championship coming up. I don't know how soon the girls have a tournament, but the Tigers. The height of it all was last year when we qualified
for the
Olympics. But some critics would also say, how did we qualify? We qualified with those who were based outside. And that can we really use that as a yardstick for the growth and the level of basketball in Nigeria?
First of all, I think, again, one other thing, I think maybe Nigerians are not very fair, or people are just there to criticize. Whether you're a Nigerian in Nigeria, Nigerian in diaspora, you're a Nigerian. and it takes talent to spot the quality that will represent Nigeria in major competition. One thing you must not take out of Nigeria is that Nigeria today produces probably more when you compare to other African countries, mostly in the colleges. Yeah, so we're actually, the MBBF is doing, the exposure is good, and a lot of our basketballers are leaving the shores of this country to play for universities in America. They're getting education, they're empowering themselves, and most importantly, they are adding to the GDPs of this country. So to me, that is very critical to the development. So you must give credit to the board, the past board. I'm just on the new board, who have actually sat down and structured a plan that made us qualify for the first time in the Olympics. And again, we must also look at basketball, football. Football gets a lot of funding from government. Basketball virtually gets nothing, absolutely nothing. They virtually struggle. So government should also look at it. Are we really investing in sports? Should we only concentrate in football, athletics, or whatever? We should all sit back, treat the sports as equal. These are team sports. These are potentials to actually push us to the next level. Because I keep asking myself, what are we doing about NOA, orientation agencies? To me, the major vehicle for reorientation is sports. And part of the budgets of National Orientation Agency should actually be geared towards mobilizing Nigerians through sports, even investing in sports.
Do you think we can win? I mean, after we qualified for the Olympics and we had victory over Tunisia at the Olympics, the general thinking among everybody is that if we can get those boys again together, and thankfully, I think we will get them together with the same coach, that we should be African champions. Because we beat Tunisia, who are African champions at the Olympics, that we should be able to do it again at the Afro Championship.
To me, it's not just about, one, the pedestrian is very huge. We just played a few invitationals in America, and that is because of the growing pedigree of Nigerian basketball. We just we played Venezuela. And, so invitations are coming, and so we're exposing some of our boys the more. Of course, we're not yet there, but with more funding, more exposure, I think maybe beyond the sky is the limit for basketball, and it is the only sport I think that can match football one-on-one. Other countries, South Africa has maybe 3 major sports. They have their football, they have their rugby, they have their cricket. And I think it's time for Nigeria to start developing other sports to match football, which has technically become our national sport.
Let's talk about the women too. We've talked a lot about the men. Can we apply the same for the women in terms of the day tigress? Well, getting players. I mean, there was a girl that won a scholarship to play in an American university that came home and was saying if she's called, she will be willing to come to play for Nigeria. Are we also looking at getting Nigerians who can play this game outside of the country, as we're doing for the men, and bring them for the Tigers?
I think it's the same. And again, it was the ladies that actually qualified for the Olympics first, just like our female football has actually been going to the World Cup before the men.
And winning every tournament.
So the women have actually been doing fantastic when you talk about sports, both basketball, both football. So what we're saying is, why not? If you have a structure, if you create the enabling environment, I mean, it's open. It's 50-50 for everybody, both the female and the male team.
As a member of this board, and as someone that's also very involved in basketball, where do you see basketball in 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Well, I think I see it as a major money spinner, and if anybody wants to invest, that is the place to invest. First of all,
leave football
I'm not saying leave football alone. We need to grow other sports. We need to have sports that can match the others. You go out, like I keep saying, Nigerians are generally big, tall, huge. What do? It's not just, it shouldn't just be football. It's only a few people that will make it in football. So we need to start developing other sports. And then we have a lot of kids in private school who do not even have the opportunity to play because of the nature. But I go to some of the schools where I go to do some talk, and you see some kids that are 6'9",
tall guys,
7 foot. What are they doing? Nothing. They call them ajabotas. I think we should actually reform them, get them out of the botas, and make them tougher and stronger. One, they add up to what we need as a nation. Strong, virile, huge personalities who can actually be better. They don't have to go into whatever arrangements they have in the universities. If you have this game, that's why I'm also excited that Nuga is for the first time getting very serious. And I will really want to see what they're going to do, because I see a lot of graduates coming out of Nigerian universities at 20, unemployed. If you can stream, sports is a huge area.
Well, Felix, before I allow you to go, let me bring you out of MBBF and make you a journalist now and get your opinion on our football. Because I know you're also very involved in the Globe Premier League and some other areas of football, the FA Cup and all of that. Let me allow you to say a few things around football, the Federation Cup, now at the semi-final stage, the women. also at the semi-final stage, the Premier League, and everything around our football. What can you say about our football?
Well, I think football has grown, whether we like it or not. With the victory
of
the Nations Cup, the qualification of the home Super Eagles for the first ever for CHAN, this is a huge prospect for us.